From every strand on the line of your reel, to the rods, to the anglers, to the lures on the end of your hook, let's talk about those big bass here on Co-Angler's Corner with your hosts, Rob Welch and John Stoudinger.
Hey, y'all are. Cajun Rob here with you. Got my all-time favorite co-angler, Mr. Gary Haraguchi. Welcome, Gary.
Thank you. Glad to be here. Thank you, John.
And my buddy John, he's not able to make it tonight. Yeah, you good, man. Hey. All right, take two. No.
Take two,
yep.
Right?
Yeah, John's under the weather tonight, so just be me and Gary. But I said, everybody keep Johnny in thoughts and prayers. He's struggling a little bit, but he'll be all right. He'll be back. And I want to tell Gary something starting off. I got into co-angling because of you. So hats off to you, man.
I don't know if that's good or bad, but okay.
Oh, it's been good, man. It's been a good ride. I mean, it's been I've had a lot of fun, met a lot of friends, including you, and I've had a lot of fun, man. It's been a great ride. So.
Yep, that's awesome.
Yep. But for guys that don't know, I mean, if you're in fishing, you know Gary's name. He's been FLW for a long time. I know he's had 5 career wins in FLW. He's had, I think, a couple in bass, 2 in bass opens.
Yes.
And I think the big, I looked through some of these stats, and I think the most impressive, besides your Angler of the Year and your wins, is on Toyota. I think you've been in every Toyota championship since 2016. And that alone is impressive because I did Toyotas a couple years, and it's all hammers over there. So,
but
I
didn't make it this year because I didn't fish them this year. But
yeah,
this is probably my first year I didn't. But
yeah, that's the only reason. That's the only reason, I can guarantee you. But for the folks, how'd you get kind of started fishing, Gary, and then how'd you get kind of into tournaments? I'm kind of curious that myself.
You know, I fished when I was young. I fished. My dad was a striper and salmon fisherman, so that's what I did. And then probably in the late 90s, almost 2000, I thought, oh man, I kind of want to try that bass fishing, but I didn't know anybody that bass fished.
Right.
So I'm thinking, well, how am I going to learn if I don't? So I went out and bought myself a boat. So I bought myself a boat, and I figured, well, this will force me to go out and fish and learn, So I got out, and I actually had a little bit of trouble with my trolling motor when I first got it. So I took it to a trolling motor shop, and a gentleman by the name of Jay Liu had the trolling motor shop, and he kind of talked to me for a little bit, and he says, well, what do you got for lures? And I had like 6 crankbaits, all the lures I owned.
Yep.
So I showed him that, and he goes, okay. So then he kind of took me under his wing a little bit and took me out fishing and stuff. And, it just, I had fished before, but never for bass. I didn't know anything about it. So it took a few years because I didn't fish a lot. I fished, periodically. And even now I don't fish. If I don't fish a tournament, I don't fish. I just pretty much that's my time to fish. And other than that, I don't fish very much. But so anyway, it took a few years, probably, 4 or 5 years to kind of learn stuff. And then after that, then, I just been kind of, doing the co-angler thing since then. And that's kind of how it's been. It's been a fun ride for me.
Oh, yeah, same here, man. I mean, I've had a blast. I've met a lot of friends, a lot of good folks. I've learned a lot, and go to all these gorgeous lakes, all these gorgeous areas. I mean, you can't beat it, man.
Absolutely. It's beautiful.
Yeah. And my favorite time is like when you first launch out and there's a little bit of fog and mist on top of the water. That's just
it's exciting
gorgeous.
Now.
Yeah. And then you fly in a bass boat about 60, 70 miles an hour.
Right.
So, but it's pretty good. But yeah. And another thing, I give you credit. You moved from the West Coast over to Tennessee, and I bet that was kind of adjustment for you.
Yeah, a little bit. It's different, but we love it here in Tennessee now. So it's awesome. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
and
I did the same. I moved from South Mississippi into swamps and muddy water and shallow water to Tennessee. I moved to Knoxville at first, and I was like, it took me a couple of years to get used to rocks and clear water, so it threw me for a loop. But I finally figured it out. And
it's all good. It's all part of the learning experience, huh?
Oh, yeah, and that's the fun part of it, man. I'm like you. I had a mentor here in Kentucky. It helped me out a lot, and he was my team partner. We had a blast, and I met him because I donated some stuff to a high school. He was the bass fishing coach.
Okay.
And we just hit it off. We started fishing and learned a lot. We had some good times, good laughs. Unfortunately, he's passed away on me, but I still remember him every time on the water, man. I remember all the good times we had. So
awesome, yeah.
Yep.
Those are great memories.
Yep. And then, if people don't know, you won the wild card on my toughest lake, Cherokee. I love Cherokee, but I always struggle there.
Yeah, it was tough. I mean, honestly, I got there and I fished. I didn't know anybody, so I kind of got online and linked with a guy and kind of met up, and so we fished, but we never caught a keeper in 2 days in practice.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm like, oh boy, okay. So the first day of the tournament, I actually drove a guy that was live scoping.
Yep.
And so that was kind of tough, but he ended up only catching one fish. And it wasn't actually even live scoping. He actually went over to a point, threw a shaky hit out and caught a keeper.
Yep.
So that was the only fish that only keeper fish. That's probably the only keeper fish I saw in 3 days. And then the fourth day, my guy wasn't live scoping. And so we just went out fishing, and I just kind of fished around, and I actually ended up catching one on a shaky head, and he ended up catching one. And then we just kind of fished around. I mean, he blanked the first day too. So
yeah,
we just started fishing around, and I ended up, and then he starts fishing down the bank, and I ended up picking up a crankbait, and I ended up catching 3 fish with that crankbait. And,
oh, wow.
Yeah, that was the deal there. So, yeah, so I weighed in 4 fish for like 9 pounds, and I think I won by about 4. That's how tough it was. I mean, I knew like the second day, I think a little bit under 4 pounds was leading it after the first day. And I think 11 co-anglers even caught. Nobody caught more than 1 fish the first day as co-anglers, and only 11 people caught 1. So I knew I still had a chance. I just had to, buckle down, and, the good Lord blessed me with those 4, and very thankful and grateful for them, for sure.
Oh, yeah. And it seems like on the tough tournaments, on tough bites, you're the man to beat, man. It's a tough bite, man. You better watch out. You're coming.
Yeah, I actually enjoy the tougher tournaments, even though it's not so much fun, because like even in practice, what's hard is like when you don't get a bite or a keeper bite, you don't know whether it's the right technique or it's the wrong area, right?
Yeah.
So now you're thinking, am I throwing the wrong bait, or am I just in the wrong area, right? So it's really hard to figure out because you don't get a bite to figure it out. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's definitely tougher, but I enjoy the tougher tournaments for sure.
Yeah, it's like you're got a bow and arrow, and you got a moving target, and you're trying to really lined up.
But that's the fun of it too, right? I mean,
oh yeah,
trying to figure it out as the day goes on. So
and when you get it figured out, it's like spot on. It's just
right.
It clicks. It just clicks. But we got a couple comments real quick. Bonnie Fisher says hello.
Hi, Bonnie.
Hey, Bonnie. And then Mike Urbana, my good buddy, says, good job this year, Gary.
Hey, Mike. How's it going, buddy?
Yeah, Mike's good people, man, for sure.
Long time no see.
And a hammer in his own right, Mr. James Watley. Congrats on a great year, Gary.
How you doing, James?
Yep, doing good. But, Cherokee, I don't feel bad because I had a Pittman Creek tournament. I work at Pittman Creek now. We had a tournament, and I had a good boater, and we caught shorts all day.
Yeah.
And the week before, I caught like a 4-pounder on the jig. I had a BFL, and it canceled because they had a guy had an incident. And of course, I kill them, I wreck them, and I was like,
right. It's funny how that works, isn't it?
every time.
Yeah.
So, but now did you fish the Toyotas, or you didn't do Toyotas? So you did BFLs and.
I did. So I only fished the 2 BFLs. That was the only 2 I would make, and then I fished the Bass Opens this year.
Yeah,
so
those Bass Opens a lot of fun.
Yeah, but it's a lot of traveling, So
yeah.
I think I'm trying to shine away from that. I'm just going to try to probably just do some local stuff next year. It just seems like it's a lot of time away from home, which I don't like. And,
oh yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, I think this next year, I'm probably just going to stick close to home this year.
Yeah, and
might cherry pick a couple, but for the most part,
Yeah, and being in Tennessee, you're kind of in the middle. I mean, so you've got a good choice of lakes.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think like I said, I'll just fish some kind of fairly local stuff, and that's might cherry pick 1 or 2 here and there, but that's pretty much all I'm going to do this next year, I think.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And now, what's your thoughts? I mean, I know the BFLs are going to a 3-fish limit. Will that change your strategy or how you approach the tournaments in here?
The Bass Opens are actually 3 fish limit also. So no, not really. I mean, honestly, a lot of these lakes seems like they're always a grind just because they get a lot of fishing pressure, right? I mean, usually the first day of practice, I mean, I usually don't show up for the first day of practice, but I mean,
I don't either.
People tell me, oh man, it was always better the first day was good, and then as it gets closer and closer to the tournament, the bite starts toughening up, and which is, like I said, you get a couple hundred plus people out there beating on them for 3 or 4 days. I mean, yeah. So as far as that goes, my goal is always try to catch a limit first, or you know what I mean, and then. But the only thing that would change as far as my strategy would be probably maybe if I had a limit, maybe pick up a big old bait or something that maybe I feel like I can maybe get one big bite on and just throw that, maybe, and maybe not, either I get one bite the rest of the day or I don't get any or something. I like I said, it just depends on how the lake is fishing, though. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's real easy to get a limit, right? So it's like, well, I'm not going to focus so much on that. I'm going to try to figure out a way to catch a better quality fish. Or sometimes it's just like, I can't even get a bite, so I just want to catch a couple keepers, right? So
Yeah.
it really just depends on how the lake's fishing at the time.
Absolutely. Well, I'm with you on the practice. I mean, I just started a new job, so I don't have much time off, so I never get to practice. But you ever notice, like Friday to Saturday is totally different conditions, totally different.
And the thing is, you don't have any control of where you're going or what you're doing anyway. So to me, like, again, I try not to be too long away from home, so I just try to just maybe get out 1 day or 2 days, and that's plenty.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But it's good to get out. Like I said, I like the 1 days. I mean, I'm getting a little older, so 2 days is getting a little harder on me. But yeah, BFL is a lot of fun. I mean, and BFL is usually closer to your home. So if I got
so it's like you don't even you could just show up for the day of the tournament and leave your house that morning probably and be home that night, or just maybe be away a day or two, and that's it. So yeah, those are really good for that reason. Yes.
Yep. Now I know you fished a ton of tournaments. I have too. What's kind of the craziest thing that's ever happened in a tournament? Boater fall out of the boat or something. Have you had anything crazy?
I've had a boater fall out of the boat. Yeah.
Oh, I had.
Yes. And it's like, and then you're trying to get them. Well, now they have the steps to get back in.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's still, when you're soaking wet, that's a lot of weight to try to pull up there. So. Yeah, that was pretty crazy. And I've fallen out of the boat myself. So.
Oh no.
Yeah, more than once actually. I remember one time I was fishing with my good buddy Jimmy Reese, and we were in Florida.
Yep.
And we were practicing. And I'm casting out back, and I don't remember. I don't know if somehow my line got tangled in the. I don't know if it got in the power pole, but I was leaning over to reach it, and I had my hand on the power pole.
Yep.
Well, he didn't know what was going on. He's just, not paying. So he hits the power pole.
Oh, no.
Well, I'm leaning on. I went right over the top.
Ooh.
Good thing it was a warm day.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The craziest thing happened, I had a young kid at Cumberland one time at a BFL, and he left his boat plug out. Let the water drain. Yes. Well, he forgot to put it back in. So I launch him out, and we're sitting there, and the bilge is going crazy. He's like, "Oh man, I left my plug out." I was like, "Hey man, don't worry. We're boat launching right there. Just run up on somebody's trailer. They don't care." He's like, and this is like 6 a.m. It's 40 something degrees. He says, "No, I got this. Grab my ankles." I'm like, "Huh?" He strips down his underwear, goes up. I got his ankles. He's upside down, scuba diving, and put the plug in. I'm like, this ain't gonna end up good. But
something I want somebody else to see.
Yeah. Luckily, it's dark, and he's about 130 pounds soaking wet. Luckily, that's the craziest thing I've had happen.
Oh wow, that is crazy.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
I did fish a tournament a few years back at Gunnersville.
Yep.
And it was everything was frozen. So you couldn't open up the guys' lockers were frozen. We finally, poured some water around and got them open, but you couldn't close them because then you wouldn't be able to open again.
Yep.
Same thing with the live well. His live well had water in it, so it was frozen ice. So we couldn't even get any water in it. So we had to just get like a little Tupperware thing and fill the live well full of water just to have some water so we could put our fish in it. Yeah, that was crazy. And people had their boats were stuck on the trailers.
Yep.
It was crazy.
We was in practice. I think I was at a Toyota. I remember been BFL, CFL or Toyota at Chickamauga, and is that way. And there's a ramp, little bitty ramp way down the river. I think at Roane County Park. Anyway, I was backing my buddy down, and like one side of the ramp was frozen, so they had it blocked off. Right. So I'm backing it up. We hit a little bump, and it slid, and his bunks was froze. His boat goes shoop, and I look back, and his boat's doing this.
Oh my gosh!
It was like, and we had a guy. One of our best friends was like EMT. He was an EMT, and he says, hey, there's a rescue place up the road. I bet they got some bags. So literally come out and put them rescue bags and blew it up and got it. We, crank it up, blew it up, crank it up, got it back on the trailer. The only thing it messed up was his prop. So,
okay. Well,
but got lucky. But yeah,
that's pretty wild.
Yeah, I hit a bump and this boat went shoop. And I look back and there's my two buddies in the boats like this. I'm like, uh-oh.
My gosh.
So it happens. But yeah, there's some crazy stuff happens. But you know what? It's funny because you're always, if something like that happens, you always got friends around. Hey, how can we help? We had 3 or 4 guys come up and was trying to help us lift the boat up and all. So it's pretty cool.
Right. Yeah, that's awesome.
It's pretty cool. So. Yeah. And I think the only other thing I've had crazy like that happen, I fished a BFL regional down at, I think Eufaula. Yeah, first time I ever been in Eufaula. And it's funny, I had this older guy at a Phoenix day one, and I had one of the inflatables, and it's just barely sprinkling. Well, my inflatable popped. Poof! And, I'm up like this, and my boater says, hey, you okay? I said, yeah, man, go. And like 5 minutes later, we hit a rogue wave, so I didn't see it coming, so I hit the side of the gunnel, my ribs, and went, oh. And I was sore the rest of the day. But next day, too, I had his roommate, young kid, good kid, he kept calling me sir. I'm like, man, don't call me sir. And we didn't know it. We went all the way down the dam, and he caught a nice fish, and we was about to take off. I said, hey, does your boat always sit this low? He's like, no. And it was like this. Open up the rear deck, and the water's up to the batteries.
Oh my gosh!
Then he hits the bilge, nothing. Doop, doop, doop. And so he says, well, I can hot wire it. So he hot wired it, worked for like the first stop, and it quit running. And so the only thing we had on the boat, he had one of the bumpers, the little football looking bumper. Right. We cut it in half, and every time we stopped, we'd bail out. Then we go to the next stop, bail out. People said, you guys okay? Yeah, go ahead. So we caught fish. We had fun. It was one of the crazy days. So, but
now you got some good stories though.
Yeah, never forget. And if we see each other, we laugh about it. But hey, we got my old buddy James on there. Hey James, good to see you, brother.
Hey James, how you doing?
Yep. And then we got the godfather of podcasting, I call him, Mr. Jay Angel.
Hey Jay, how you doing?
Hey
man?
Jay. The good friend, man. I tell you what, he is the godfather. That's what I call him. He don't want to admit it, but he's the godfather. but I know, forward-facing solar has kind of changed the game. Is there anything besides that? I know the power poles has kind of changed it, but besides the forward-facing, what's been some of the biggest changes in co-angling, you think, over the few years you've done it?
I think it is the forward-facing sonar.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. It's made it tough. It's made it tough to fish out of the back because if you're in like 30 feet of water less, that's, you still can fish. But when you get into that 100 to 200 feet of water, and these guys they're looking for individual fish and they are moving fast. And you're in 100 to 200 feet of water. Wow. That is tough. And I really haven't even figured that part out yet, really. I struggle when we get out deep like that and just
I found a couple of things that's worked pretty good. I think the first time I had it happen, I had a Toyota on Smith Lake, and I had a young guy, and he was good at it. I mean, and I asked him, I said, how'd you get so good? He says, well, I fish crappie tournaments in the off season, and he was running a troll motor on 9, doing this number like 160 foot of water, and I'm like, I get close to shore and heave out a Carolina rig, but that's the first time I experienced it. But he was nice. He said, hey, man, it might be a long day for you. I'm sorry. But, he's a nice guy.
Yeah.
But
it does. It makes it very difficult for sure.
Yeah. Now, there's a couple of things I found that works. One thing, if you guy's forward facing and he's not really going fast, usually they'll say, hey, I'm getting them 6 to 10 foot or 10 to 15. So it'll give you a depth range. Now, after schools, I know a couple guys that showed me, he'll bring a fish in. There'll be 5 or 6 followers. Drop a drop shot down right beside the boat.
Sure.
And just, And then I've had a scrounger head. I've had luck on scrounger head. Actually, I threw one out, and the guy said, I saw this fish. It must have been a smallmouth. He comes straight up out of 40 foot, crashed it.
Really? That's awesome.
And of course, broke my line. I was like,
oh, no.
I said, well, that was my opportunity today.
Oh, no.
But oh man, But yeah, and that it seemed like the scrounger had the drop shot and even A rig. I've done pretty good on A rig, on BFLs where you use it.
Right.
So
yeah, it's a tough way to go though. It really is. I mean, if you catch a fish or two, you're doing really good. I think, in that kind of scenario. Honestly.
And I think I seen you at Del Hollow one time. You was with a scoper and you had a kind of a tough day. And speaking of that, I had a scoper, nice guy, super guy. I mean, he's hammered him. He had like 24 pounds, and he's like, "Hey man, you've been positive. You net all my fish, never complained. I'm gonna stop 30 minutes to an hour before we get to weigh in and let you catch some." I said, "All right."
Nice.
So of course we're going to crank up, and his batteries are dead.
Oh.
By the time we got it figured out, it was weigh-in time, and he would have got second or first. And the cool thing, he never got mad, and finally figured out, got cranked up. We was easing back, and this beautiful bald eagle like flew right over our heads and had like much. It was like we both was like speechless. So
yeah, they're beautiful birds. Big, powerful birds.
Oh, absolutely. And there's Jay saying, "Hey, Gary."
Hey, Jay.
And then my friend Jeremy May from Virginia say, "Hey, folks."
Hey, Jeremy. Hey,
Mr. May, how you doing? But yeah, I mean, there's it seems like every time you go out, you have a lot of fun. I know you taught me a lot about being positive. Keeping your lure wet. You may have 10 minutes a day to have a good bite. You got to take advantage of it.
Absolutely. Because I mean, you're not always going to have a lot of, there's little windows of time that you just have to be ready for, because it's a lot of times you're not going to be fishing good stuff for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just the way it is. So.
Oh yeah, or your boater's going to do a 4-hour long ride at every end of the lake. You never know. I mean,
I've had that happen before too. When you get maybe an hour or two of fishing time. Actually, I did that it was a few years back in the St. Lawrence River, and it was just like, I don't remember what place it was. It was like the final day, top 25. So we left at Messina, but he went all the way almost to the lake. So it was a little over a 2-hour ride. So we go 2+ hours. He pulls over, and we get some gas, and then we get back. He gets on plane again. As soon as he gets on plane, motor blows up. Never even made a cast. That day.
Oh man,
So I'm sure I ended up 25th. But I mean, we didn't even fish. We were on the Canada side. I mean, we didn't. And we're 2+ hours away. I mean, we're like, oh yeah. But that's the way it goes.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes what is the saying? Sometimes you eat the bar, and sometimes the bar eats you. So
that's right.
you just laugh and say, "Well, I have a better tournament next tournament."
That's right. I just figured, you know what? The girl Lord wasn't meant to be today, and that's all okay.
Yep. Hey, you get them next time, you still got another chance. So.
That's right.
That's right. And Brent Shore says, "Hi, Gary."
Hey, Brent, there's my buddy from Idaho.
Oh, cool. But I noticed Idaho's starting to get pretty hot. Their lakes, and I know there's a bunch of tackle shops. Seem like it's popped up in that area.
Okay,
so,
I didn't know that. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Beautiful. Yeah, Idaho's a beautiful place.
Oh, absolutely. Now, I know you fished the Bass Opens. What do you think about the new Bass Open schedule? I think it's pretty cool how they got it. 4 and 4, and then you go to the championship.
It's just, for me personally, it's just a lot of traveling.
Yeah,
and that's the only. That's the only thing. Even last year, and it's just they're all over the place. I mean, it's just one end of the state to the other. So you gotta be you're probably more of a full-time truck driver than you are a fisherman.
Yep. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I travel for my work quite a bit, and I think I got to go to Mississippi, Louisiana, and drive back, and then I think the week after I got to go to West Virginia all the way to Wisconsin and drive back. So
right.
I only got to do it like a week a month usually, so I ain't complaining. But yep. James says, "Yes, Mike, it was tough." So yep. Skipped one. Or Mike says Wheeler was tough on us co-anglers this past weekend. Gary, you would have excelled.
I don't know about that, but I saw that was a pretty tough tournament.
Oh yeah, definitely. It did. Yeah, it said James was there. He said, "Yes, Mike, it was tough." So it did. Britt Shore says Gary can drive 70 hours straight. Wow, that's a baller, man. I have to give you credit.
I don't know about that, but I have driven 36 straight.
Whew, man. That's brutal. Yeah, I think I did a VFL regional one time at Wheeler, and it was like 4-foot rollers. It was blowing like crazy. It was a crazy tournament. I mean, I caught a few shorts, but I think I had one keeper day too, but it was tough.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Back east, they're typically on the tougher side, just because there's a lot more fishing pressure, for sure.
Oh, absolutely. It's. Like I said, I'm trying to. Everybody goes to Japan, and they say the lakes are more pressured there than here. I'm like, how's that possible? Yeah. Is there people around the lake fishing 24/7?
Yeah,
I mean,
I guess so.
Oh,
yeah.
But what's the? I know you've been on the West Coast quite a bit. Now you're in Tennessee quite a bit. What's the big differences in the West Coast lakes and maybe the Tennessee Valley lakes? Is there?
There's a lot of variety in the West, and the fishing is better than it is back east. But I think that's probably one thing is they don't have the fishing pressure that they do here. I mean, like I said, you can go to any of these lakes here, and I mean, they got tournaments Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
Wild cards, night tournaments.
Yeah, and they don't have that kind of pressure in California. So the lakes are the lakes actually fish better there, but they have a ride like they have the Delta, which is more tidal, and they've got like Clear Lake, which is more of a natural lake, and Shasta, more of like a reservoir. So they've got a lot of variety there. So fishing out west, you definitely become a more versatile angler.
Oh, well, it's like around. I lived in Knoxville quite a bit, and there's like 4 lakes right around Knoxville, and every one's got a different. Like even like Loudon Tellico, it's the same lake connected with a canal, but the Tellico is kind of clear smallmouth, and then Loudon is like dirty water largemouth, but it's it's on the same. It's on the same water.
Yep, for sure. So yeah, it was great to have all that different the different lakes and titles and everything else. So then coming out here, obviously feel a little more comfortable with any technique because you've seen it kind of all already.
Well, yeah. It don't intimidate you as much because you've already seen all the different conditions and environments.
Yeah, absolutely.
That makes sense. And my buddy James says Clear Lake in January is fireworks.
Yep, better go, James.
He would know. He goes everywhere. And then my buddy James Wheatley says, hard to beat Tennessee River Lake, though. I love fishing any of the Tennessee River.
There you go.
Yep, it takes a little bit of a knack, but you can figure it out.
Yep. Well, and I enjoy going to different places. I don't like fishing the same places all the time.
Yeah, I don't either.
And that's what's good about here traveling. At least there's a lot of California. It's Clear Lake, Delta, Shasta, pretty much Oroville, someplace like So it's even you go to the lake the exact same date as you were last year, it's going to be different.
Oh yeah.
But still, it's just I don't know. I just like going to different places, seeing new things, and I just enjoy going to new lakes and just trying to figure them out, versus kind of going to the same place all the time, I guess.
Oh, absolutely. But we always ask our guests now, what is your favorite lake? If you had to go to one lake next weekend, where would you go?
Oh boy, out east, I would probably have to say somewhere up there like the St. Lawrence River. And
good choice.
West, I would say somebody like Shasta, just because I can catch 100 to 200 fish a day. They might only be 12 inches long, but it's a lot of fun.
And monster spots out there. There's some monster spots out there.
Yeah. Yep. Yes, absolutely. So it's great.
Yeah. Now, what is one lake you don't want to go back to, or rather not go to? Let's put it that way.
Gosh, I don't know. I can't think of one offhand, but I'm sure there's probably more than one.
Yeah.
Because like I said, some of these lakes back east are super tough. But it depends on the time of the year too, right? So I remember I fished a BFL, I think a year or two ago. It was like a super tournament. So it was a 2-day tournament. And it was at, I can't remember if it was Old Hickory maybe, or I can't remember. Yeah, maybe Old Hickory. But anyway, so it was September, so I was fishing with my buddy. And I said, man, the fishing's really tough, man. It's always this tough. He goes, oh, this is how it is all the time. So I think I caught maybe 3 fish the first day.
Oh.
And I think I was in like 3rd place or 4th place, something like that. And so the next day, the second day we went out and I blanked, but I only dropped to like 5th place to show you how bad the fishing was.
Wow.
Yeah. You think, oh man, second day you blank, you're going to drop to the very bottom. It's like I dropped like one or two spots, I think, and that was it. So, and that's what, I'm saying, I'm sure, and that's what I'm saying. It's just the time of the year and when it was, but it's just, you get those times, sometimes these lakes seem like they're always tough, but I don't know. It just, sometimes it's just hard to get a bite, and so you're just grinding to get one,
Yeah, yeah, and like I said, you try to get a small limit and then try to upgrade. If you get that one kicker, you're
happy to get a small limit if you can even get that, on some of these lakes for sure.
Definitely, yeah. I think my favorite's like Florida lakes because it's all about 8 foot, 10 foot, and co-angler you got is just as good a chance as the boater. I mean, you've got same depth. Yep. And I think the place I don't want to go back to, I went to Ohio River at a couple BFLs. I had one keeper on a buzz bait, almost cast a check on one fish.
I believe it. Yeah, I heard that. I heard that place is like super tough.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of like 8 and 10-inch fish, but it's hard to get one that's 12. I mean, it's
funny how you go to these lakes and they put like whatever lake you go to, if it's a 15-inch limit, 18-inch limit, it doesn't matter what size it is. You always catch a ton of fish like a 1/4 inch or an 1/8 inch less than what the legal size is. And I don't know how that works, but that's how it seems like it always works out.
Yeah, I think I had a BFL on Loudon one time way back in the early 2000s. And the FLW was there like the week before, and every fish was like 11 1/4, 11 1/2. It's like they stained all the keepers out.
Yep. I don't know what it is. Whenever they have like a 15, 18-inch, whatever it is, it's like you catch a bunch of fish, but they're never keepers.
You flip them over and
work them, talk nice to them.
Yeah, absolutely. And my good buddy Barker Rugers from South Louisiana says, no, they just don't bite. Yeah, that's true. They get lockjaw quite a bit. Oh. But and then I give you credit. You come up that shaky head. You use the
frenzy nail.
The frenzy nail. I really love those frenzy nails, man. They do good. I mean, they're like all terrain. They rocks, wood, works good everywhere.
Yep, that's a great design for sure.
Yeah, absolutely, and hooks them good. I mean, they're awesome little heads, man.
Yep.
So I got turned on to those by you. So appreciate it.
Yeah, they're awesome for sure.
Absolutely, but like I said, what are you planning on doing next season? You think you're just going to do BFLs? And
I'll probably just do some BFLs, and maybe I might fish a Toyota series, but that something that's closer to home probably, and not so much travel. And I might cherry pick a tournament or two, maybe just depending on how my schedule is. But for now, I'm just going to probably stick more local. And, stay closer to home. I just kind of miss the family when I'm away traveling so much, and it's to the point now where I think I'm ready to kind of try to stay closer to home.
Absolutely, I got the same feeling, man. I'm with you on that. That driving gets kind of old.
Yeah, it's fun, but it's like it just, and like I said, I don't fish other than when I fish if I fish a tournament, so I don't fish anything in between. But still, it's just. It just takes, it takes a lot of your time, most of those tournaments, unless it's a BFL, is going to take you a week. You're going to be gone at least a week. Yeah. So.
Or if you're like me, you drive down Friday. If you drive 10 or 12 hours Saturday morning, you're like, stiff as board. You're like,
absolutely.
I heard that, but and it's amazing. I noticed this last year in the BFLs, there's a lot more young ladies fishing, and some of them are kicking butt out there. I mean, hats off to them; they're doing good.
Yeah, they're good. For sure.
James says every lake is just right down the road. LOL. Pretty much. Yeah, being in the middle of the country has its advantages.
Yep, absolutely, it does. It's beautiful out here for sure.
Oh yeah. But I noticed it seems like the shad, usually they're migrating back to the creeks and coves. It seems like they're a little behind schedule this year. I don't know why, but
yeah, it could be just the weather. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not that familiar with the normal weather here, but it could be maybe the weather set them back, or I don't know what the water temperatures are, but that could be part of it.
Yeah, it's been a weird weather.
It has been warm. It has been warm actually. So
yeah,
it just hasn't got to that point where it's really cooling off. I mean, we do have a few cool days, but nothing steady.
Yeah, I got some buddies down Florida. They say it's down in the 80s, and now they got a tropical storm like by the Yucatan Peninsula, and it's supposed to like gather up and strengthen up and head toward Florida. I'm like, 2 in November is like unheard of. So the only reason I keep up with it because my mom and dad live down there, and my brother, so I kind of have to keep eye on stuff. But,
sure. Yeah.
But great craziness, man. But and talking about stuff that's come out, what do you think? Kind of the best. I'll start off. I think one of the best things for co-anglers. I got one of those rod holders. All grabs them up, and you put them all in one bundle, and it has a little. It's like the Cal Coast, I think, had one.
A sling on it or something.
Yeah. Now that thing. I mean, because you're having to march or hike a mile across the lot.
Yeah, you got all these. You got your hands full. Everything's hanging off you. And yeah.
It cracks me up because you'll see some kid who'll have 16 rods, and it'll be like, like, how is he not tripping or like breaking rods? But
yeah.
But what do you think? What do you think one of the best co-angler tools or equipment it's been the last few years, you think?
Oh man, for a co-angler.
Or have you got a forward-facing sonar set up co-angler like in a little suitcase? Like
not yet. I mean, I did try one, but honestly, I've never caught a fish with it.
Oh hey.
I don't even like it. I don't like using it. I don't want to use it because it's just, like you said, you got all the rods, it's just that much more to carry. And so I tried it, and you know what? I don't like it. Honestly, I've never caught a fish with it. I mean, I haven't used it a lot. I mean, I probably used it, I don't know, half a dozen times or so, but I just don't really like it. I mean, I'm not saying that I wouldn't try to figure out something to kind of modify it to make it work a little better, maybe for me. But at this point, I don't even like using it. I mean, I don't know. It's just my personal thing. To me, I don't even want to have to drag more stuff with me. You know what I mean? Like you said,
well, plus you got to set it up, take it down, set it up, take it down.
I mean, so yeah, I have tried it probably half a dozen times. And I haven't had any luck with it, to be quite honest. I've actually never even caught a fish with it.
Dang, that's something else right there.
So, but you know what I mean? It's hard because like I've tried it, like practicing with my buddy, but like I said, they're going 100 miles an hour. I mean, and there's just too many moving parts. You know what I mean? It's just, I just don't like it personally. That's all. I just too much going on for somebody in the back to try.
And like I said, just taking it in the boat, out of the boat, and then having to like go back and forth.
You got your rods, you got your tackle bag, you got your lunch. I mean, it's just a lot. Yeah.
And time is like crucial for us in the back of the boat. I mean,
and the thing is like for me, sometimes like at least like I said, when I've used it in practice and stuff, you spend so much time focused on it.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't know if that's good or bad. You know what I mean? Because it's taken away from your fishing time because you're not fishing. You're looking out at the screen.
Yeah.
But again, but when you get into those situations when you're 100, 200 feet of water, I mean, what else are you going to do?
Yeah.
I mean, even though you don't catch it, you know what I mean? Because like I said, it's hard because they're not groups of fish. They're individual fish and they're going 100 miles an hour looking for one fish. And so that's, you know what I mean? So it makes it hard because it's not like, oh, wow, he's slowing down. There's a group of fish here. I can cast it this one and this one. It's usually that's the one fish you see and you scan around. There's nothing else around. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
And I noticed kind of they're having to cast longer, further because the fish are kind of getting tuned into it.
Yeah.
So
getting used to the pulse of it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So
I think next couple of years, I think what I see in the future kind of being a tackle business, I think you're going to be the BFF stuff's hot now. It's going to get hotter, and there's going to be like 5-pound braid where you can throw further. So I think that's kind of coming around next year or two, I think.
Yeah.
If I had to read the tea leaves.
I mean, it's cool technology, but you have to be the one using it. Because if you're out there watching somebody, it's kind of boring, honestly. You need to be the guy doing it, and then it's actually kind of cool technology.
Oh, absolutely. And my buddy Barker Ruger says, welcome to the South where there's always something trying to kill you. Yeah. Yeah, Louisiana, where he's at. Yeah, I can attest to that.
Thanks, Barker.
And then he said, I heard a co-angler up in Kentucky say he didn't need but 3 rods. I might know that guy.
Yeah, I don't know him either. I usually got 6 or 7.
Yeah, I heard that. But sorry about that. We're on the side of my phone. But I've been on some tournaments. Actually, my first tournament on Del Hollow in 2017, I had 3 rods because that's all I owned was 3 rods.
Right.
And I threw a jig all day. It's like 40 degrees, and that was cold. We got in this little bitty creek, and I flipped my jig out there. And of course, I had the professional overrun. I'm trying to get my loops out, get it out, pick it up, 3-pounders on it. Oh, hey, they wanted it dead sticked. And like 5 or 6 casts later, I threw it out, and I'm like, oh, man, I'm hung up. By the time I felt a little head shake, I'm like, oh, somebody's home. Like, it wasn't probably 3 or 4 foot for the boat. Set the hook, 5, 6. I had 3 fish that day, big fish, in 5th place. First BFL ever fished.
Nice. That's awesome.
And I was like, I think I can do this.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, it was a good day. But the funniest part was my boater, he netted my fish, and he looked up at me with big eyes and said, "You getting a check today?" I'm still friends with him today, but that was
a good feeling right there, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is.
Oh, God.
Oh, hey, there's our buddy John. Said just joining in. Hey, John, hope you're feeling better, buddy.
How you doing?
All right, but yeah, it's a lot of fun. But if I know we have some young co-anglers or future aspiring co-anglers. You got any tips or advice for the guys just ready to get into the co-angling?
Yeah, I think the main thing is just spending some time on the water, to be quite honest with you. I mean, I think that's the best teacher.
Yep.
I mean, you could read all you want to read, but it doesn't translate as well unless you're out on the water using it, to be quite honest with you. And yeah, so I think just time on the water, get out there and, maybe fish some of these tournaments. I mean, you're going to learn a lot, I mean, you'll learn more in a day of fishing a tournament than you would if you just went out fun fishing for a week, probably.
Absolutely. And I recommend some people. I've done the Marshall thing. I've done Marshall with the FLW back in the day and Bass. And it's kind of neat. If you're unsure about getting the co-angling, go in as a Marshall, and you get kind of behind the scenes, how the tournament goes. And so if you're kind of not sure if you want to get into it, be a Marshall for at least an event or two and kind of see where you're at.
And you mentioned before one of the things that would help a co-angler, and now I just happen to think of it, is I've been using the Acicol tags, and I haven't had a dead fish since. So, and that's, and you fish these tournaments, and it's like, I guess when you fish enough of them, you realize how important one fish is, or a few ounces is. I mean, it can make a difference from winning a tournament, winning Angler of the Year, winning, it may, over a course of a year, I've seen it, where one fish over the year makes a difference. So having those tags and not having it, like I said, they're great because the way they don't actually bite down on the fish, it just kind of floats in there, so they don't have any stress or anything. And like I said, I've had great luck with them. I haven't had any fish die on me. So, and that's important. You know what I mean? I mean, you catch the fish, you need to take care of them, so that's really helped.
Yeah, you talk about an ounce. I think I was a 46 going into a super tournament at Barron River in Mountain Division one time. Caught one fish on a shaky head, moved the 44th, made the regional.
Yep, that's it. I mean, it's huge how much, I mean, some tournaments it doesn't matter because, I mean, you might be catching enough that it doesn't matter. But a lot of these tournaments, I mean, I've lost Angler of the Year. I've lost tournaments by 1 ounce. So that's what I'm saying. That's because I've seen it personally happen to me. That's why I know how important it is to have, everything, everything that can go your way. You want to work. So you want, don't worry about things you can't control, but you need to worry about the things you can control.
Oh, absolutely. I've heard, I think Roland Martin, one of the guys, concentrate on good knots. Be prepared. I mean, it's just the little things. I mean, just, whatever knot you use, just make sure you can tie it right and you're confident in it.
Yeah. Because, I mean, some of these knots they take a while to learn.
Oh, yeah, they do.
You'll get fast. Like, I use the FG knot, and that takes a while, that takes a while to learn.
Oh, yeah. But it goes through the guide so much easier. I mean, it makes a difference.
Yeah, it's a great knot. It really is.
But it's bad when you're out there and the wind's blowing 40 miles an hour and you're trying to tie it.
Sometimes I might cheat and tie a different knot just
because,
especially, I mean, during a tournament, I mean.
Oh, yeah.
But the thing is, in practice, none of that ever happens.
No.
It always seems like, I mean, you can cast out there, catch a 5-pounder, have it wrap you around the pole 3 times, and it just comes right out. Yes, comes back to you. Tournament, I'm sure enough, it's going to break off.
Oh, yeah. Something weird's going to happen.
But it's weird, because it's like I never have any problems with my leader breaker or anything, but sure enough, come tournament time, something happens, or I get a wind knot, get the little braid wind knot tied around your tip, and it's like, this never happens. It just
Yeah.
happens during a tournament. Why does that work like that?
I had something like that happen at South Holston this year in Volunteer. I was my boater was catching them, I think, on a drop shot, and I was throwing a Ned and we was getting smallmouth on the beds, and I had a little BFS spinning reel, and I just cast it out, and somehow the line got wrapped around. Of course, I take the whole spool off.
Right.
And you know what happened next? Smallmouth goes pew, and I'm sitting here. So you know what happened there? Pop. So that happens.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
And then my buddy John says, "Congrats on all your successes, Gary."
Well, thank you, John. I greatly appreciate it.
Yep. And then he has a question. He says, "If you could bring setup and bait to fish this post spawn, what would you choose?"
For post spawn,
Post
I
spawn.
like top waters during post spawn, but something like a fluke or a floating worm, something like that works pretty good. After the spawn, also. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. It's a tough time. I mean, they're kind of in transition.
It's transition time, so the fishing, they get a little tough, but yeah. Again, it depends on the lake and the conditions, and there's just how it is. There's just so many variables, so you just have to read what's in what your current situation is.
Yeah. I know a guy. I used to want to live in Knoxville. Seemed like every year there was a crankbait. Like one year it'd be black. Next year, you couldn't get a bite on black, but it'd be pink. Like every year, there was a different hot color.
Yep, absolutely. So that's why you got to just be willing to try, which isn't that easy. It's easier said than done, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, you go out one day and you catch, a bunch of them on a spinnerbait. It's hard to put it down the next day when they're not biting it. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
you got to figure, hey, this isn't working. I got to change up. So
yeah, or you get your favorite lure and you don't want to put it down, and then your partner is wearing you out.
Yeah, you got so much confidence in it. Yeah, so it's easy to say just put it down, pick up something else, but sometimes it's not that easy.
Yeah, and I know me and my good buddy Sean, we went to high school together. He's in Alabama, and we actually got to fish together one time. It's funny, we was in a regional at Chickamauga, and we talked about for years, it'd be great we in the same tournament. Got in the same tournament, so we're going back. Both of us zeroed. Day two, we get our pairings texted. We got paired up on day 2. It was right? It was pretty cool, yeah. And he caught like a 6'4" on a top water. It was, it wasn't in like 8 inches of water. It was like super shallow. So, right. But it was pretty cool. But it amazes me. I know, just a couple years ago when we was in high school, fishing teams. Me and my buddy Sean, I said, man, if we had fishing teams back, we'd have never skipped high school. We'd have loved high school,
Right, right.
But 300, 400 boats show up these high school tournaments. It just blows my mind.
Crazy, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, it blows my mind.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But and then John's got a good question for you. He said, what's your favorite homemade cookie?
Oh, I'm going to have to say chocolate chip. Chocolate chip and walnuts.
Yeah, that's a classic. You can't beat that at all. That's my favorite. That's hard to beat. So, but anyway, Gary, we're about 48 minutes in, and we like to give our guests kind of the floor to talk about their sponsors or thank for people that support them. So, the floor is all yours, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. I got to thank Yamamoto Baits. They've been with them a while, and I don't go anywhere without a Senko tied on. Can't beat it. And Daiwa, I use Daiwa rods and reels. They've been awesome. And then a really great one for me has been a recent one is Carolina Fishing Tackle. If you've never been there, carolinafishingtackle.com. You see all these hard to get JDM baits. They got them. So if they can't get them, you can always just, probably just go through their website or just call and, or if you have a special request, call them, and they have a lot of colors, exclusive colors, just Carolina Fishing Tackle colors as far as their baits. But yeah, it's a great store, and, it's got a lot of unique baits. It's just, it's basically a JDM store is what it is for the most part. You won't see too much of the regular stuff you would see in a regular tackle store. So if you're looking for the hard to get or niche stuff, and just, they're great. Their customer service is awesome. So yeah, and like I said, I've really fallen in love with a lot of the stuff because I like to look and it's like, oh wow, this is different. I like to throw different stuff too. So yeah, it's pretty cool. So
awesome.
Yeah. Absolutely. And got a lot of great sponsors, but I appreciate them all.
Oh yeah, as that Cinco, man, you can do so many things with that thing. Wacky rig, Texas rig, shaky head. I mean, it's so many. I mean, that's like your, crescent wrench of your tackle box. I mean, it's
Yep, yeah, absolutely. And like I said, that Frenzy nails are awesome, shaky head, and
yep,
yeah, just a lot of great things out there. And so but Carolina Fishing Tackle. If you just want to check out a store that's got some really unique and cool stuff, that's a place to go.
absolutely. Well, man, I really do appreciate it. I know everybody in our audience appreciates you being on and catching up with you. And I said, congrats on your wild card win, man. That was an awesome win, and
thank you. I appreciate it, Rob. And I hope John's feeling better, John. I hope you feel better, buddy.
Yep. Oh, we got one last quick question from the audience. Max813 says, are you using the new Fat Cinco?
I have not used the new one yet. No, I have not. I mainly throw like a 5 or 6 inch, something like that is what I pretty much throw.
Yeah, that's hard to beat. That's a classic that will be around for ages. Yep. So definitely. But again, Gary, I mean, congrats on your win. We appreciate you coming on, and tell you what, you win another next year, we'll have you back on. We can talk about your next win.
That sounds great, Rob. Thank you so much for having me. I greatly
appreciate it. And I hope to see you out there on the BFL again or somewhere out in the water, man. It's always
great,
good.
Rob. Yeah, looking forward to it, buddy.
Yeah, because it's always good to. Hey, Gary's the most positive guy. It could be raining, snowing, sleeting, and he's smiling and as positive he can be. So.
Yeah, absolutely. The good Lord has blessed me. I'm very thankful for it.
Absolutely, brother. Well, again, thanks for being with us, and I'll catch you out on the water, sir.
All right. Sounds good, Rob. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, buddy.
Everybody.
All right. See you.